What up, everybody? It's Dr. Delatorro. Happy Monday in the building. Hope and pray you guys are doing wonderfully well on today. Listen, I wanted to jump in here. It's been about a week or two, but I wanted to jump in here and offer some massive, massive value today. I think you're going to get a lot out of today's teaching. So please do let me know where you're tuning in from. I've missed you all. Welcome back to Motivational Monday, y'all. I'm pumped. I'm stoked. I'm excited. And I'm ready to add massive value to you all today as we're talking about shifting to a higher gear. We're here talking about my Wall Street Journal USA Today best-selling book. We're in chapter 9 today, which is shift into drive to avoid the gears of mediocrity. All right. So we're here talking about the book and the workbook today. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. Hopefully you guys will get a chance to tune in and check it out. So let's jump in. Listen, y'all, I'm really, really excited about this particular chapter. One of the things that I love about chapter 9 is that it really, really is very, very comprehensive and very, very powerful. And I love having this conversation because remember last time we talked about the importance of shifting your posse, because who you ride with really and truly does matter. And I think after we shift our posse, we got to make sure that we take one of the most important steps, which is to stay in drive. Okay. So we're going to be talking now in chapter 9 about what does it mean to stay in drive? What does it mean to really stay forward moving? Does that make sense? What does that mean to stay forward moving? And I want to talk about this because y'all, the truth is, y'all, we live in this mediocre society, this mediocre world, this mediocre culture that basically says that just kind of half do it. If it's half baked, it's fine. Just get it out there. Whoever can get it out there the quickest, the quality really doesn't matter. And I think that that's so far from the truth. And so one of the things that I love about this chapter is that we use a very, very powerful comparison between motorcycle riding and automobiles, right? On a motorcycle, from a technical, practical standpoint, motorcycles come in drive. Motorcycles are built to go forward, period. They're not really built to go backwards. They're not really built to go in any other directions other than forward. Automobiles have a bunch of other gears. Automobiles have parked. Automobiles have reverse, and automobiles have neutral. Now, can you technically park a motorcycle? Sure. Is there a neutral gear in motorcycle riding? Sure. Is it used? No. Neutral is really a bypass gear in motorcycle riding designed to help you shift into drive, but it's really not, it doesn't serve a purpose other than that. Does that make sense? So for those of you all who are super hyper technical, I wanted to put that out there. Now, there are certain motorcycles, because they're so massively big, they do have a reverse button, but it's not a reverse gear. And the reverse button is designed to help people who are just not strong enough to push a 2-ton vehicle backwards. Does that make sense? So, but at the end of the day, it's a quick button. You push it. It helps you with parking. It helps you with angling and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's not a gear. So automobiles come with a lot of gears that if we use these gears in life and business will keep us very mediocre. And that is reverse, parked, and neutral. So I want to take a minute and talk about that because here's what I firmly believe. I really believe that you're meant to live life and stay in drive. I really believe that you're meant to stay in drive. There's a lot of other options. You got all kinds of other options. But my friend, if you really want to be successful, you want to stay in drive. In other words, you want to keep your foot on the gas and you want to keep moving forward powerfully. I cannot even underscore how important that reality is. Okay. So let's talk about it for a quick second, right? When you think about like some of the other gears, like when you think about so the first question people tend to ask is, well, Dr. Del Toro, how does someone know that they're in drive? You know that you're in drive when you get up every day with a sense of purpose, a sense of passion, a sense of excitement, a sense of enthusiasm, a sense of zest and spark and zeal about your life. You know you're in drive when you literally feel like you've replaced excuses with execution. Does that make sense? You've replaced, worrying about the past to taking action in the present, right? You know you're in drive when you literally can say to yourself, hey, listen, I firmly believe that um, I have something unique to offer the planet, and the planet needs what I have to share. And so when you wake up every day with that sense of forward momentum and movement, you're in drive. Now, let's talk about some of the other gears real quick. How do you know if you're in reverse or parked or neutral? Well, you know you're in reverse when you're constantly thinking about the past, when you're constantly worried about the past, when you can't seem to get over the past, when the past seems to have some kind of a hold on you in terms of how you view today, and when you view today through the lens of um, everything else. I'm sorry, you're stuck in the past. You're stuck in reverse. And the thing about reverse is that reverse is a very, very, very there's you can't do anything about the past. You can't change it if you wanted to. You really can't. And so um living in reverse is a bad gear to live in because you're constantly thinking about what you used to be, what you used to do, or what you used to have. And you don't have those things anymore. You don't have those people anymore. You don't have those experiences anymore. So now you can always use the past to give you insight to prepare you for the future. But the truth is, at the end of the day, off rip, you have to understand that the past is unchangeable. So if you're going to grow and you're going to go to the next level, you have to really embrace the fact that to take it to the next level, my friend, you got to really commit. You got to really, really commit to what it means to stay and drive. So let's get out of reverse. If you're constantly thinking about who hurt you, who left you, who did this, that, and the other, you're living life in reverse. Okay. What boss offended you, what team offended you, what didn't, you're living in reverse. Now let's talk about um, parked. You know you're in park when you feel stuck, when you're not going anywhere. At least when you're in reverse, you're actually moving. You see things going past you, right? Right. But when you're parked, man, when you're parked, you're stuck, right? And here's the thing about high achievers: we can be parked and um we can pretend like we're moving, but we're really not. We're really stuck. But our brand and our popularity makes it look like we're moving in a forward direction, even though we really and truly are not. So, are you parked? Are you stuck? You're parked when you just feel like you're not making any traction. You just feel like you're kind of stuck where you are. You're parked when you just can't seem to figure out if that makes sense, right? You're parked when you're just stalled. You're just kind of, you're not going forward, you're not going backwards, but you're just kind of, I'm just here, kind of making it from day to day. That's when you know that you're in park. Does that make sense? So maybe you feel stuck in your spiritual life, or maybe you feel stuck in your relationships, maybe you still feel stuck in your physical fitness and your vitality, right? These are all ways that you can be in park and not really notice it. And neutral is even worse than park, because when you're neutral, that means you're very nonchalant, right? When you're neutral, neutral sounds a lot like I don't know. Neutral sounds a lot like I don't care. Neutral sounds a lot like nobody cares. Nobody loves me. Neutral sounds like it doesn't matter. I don't matter, right? It's a very nonchalant gear. And when you're in neutral, when you're in this like lukewarm state, it's a very dangerous place, because when you're in neutral, the engine is not connected to the transmission, so you can't propel forward. It's impossible to propel forward when you're in neutral. So it's really, really important. And basically, when you're in neutral, your vehicle is basically tossed to and fro based upon what other people do. Does that make sense? So if other people take actions, then that's going to impact how you do what you do, fill in the blank. So, one of the things that I firmly believe is that you got to get out of neutral. You got to get out of neutral. You got to get out of this I don't know, I don't care, nonchalant, woe is me kind of, you know, but you got to stay and drive. You got to shift over to what it means to really fully embrace living life in drive, and what it means to live life all the way out to the fullest with no excuses, just leaning all the way in. Does that make sense? So ask yourself this question. And see, here's a hard truth. We were taught that how you do anything is how you do everything, and I completely disagree with that, because I believe that there's certain areas of our lives where we can be in drive, certain areas of our life where we can be in neutral, certain areas of our life where we can be in park. And so I think you got to be really, really intentional and really hyper clear about, you know, what gear you're in life in certain things. Does that make sense? So, like for example, I mean, we're out of the pandemic now, but during the pandemic, a lot of people went and parked during the pandemic, right? And some people even went to neutral in the pandemic. But those of us who stayed in drive during the pandemic came out of the pandemic better than the way we went in the pandemic. Does that make sense? So, our friend, it's vitally important that we learn the skill of what it means to stay in drive, what it means to go forward, what it means to advance. And so I think that's really, really important. So, let me ask you this question as it pertains to your parenting. What gear are you in? As it pertains to your relationships, what gear are you in? As when your physical body, what gear are you in, right? Nutrition, what gear are you in? Like, really assess where you're at in the different areas of your life, your financial life, right? Where are you at in these different areas? And what you got to do to shift over into drive. And I think one of the first remedies that we have to use, and I said this on the Today Show, and we have to use this no matter what gear we find ourselves in life and business, is I firmly believe, y'all, that we have to do a better job of knowing what it means to forgive. Ooh, I know it's a cuss word. I know it. I know it. I know it. I'm going to say it again. But the first and fastest remedy to being in these less productive gears like park, reversed, and neutral is forgiveness. And you're like, well, Dr. Delatorro, what the heck does forgiveness have anything to do with gears in life and business? I don't understand. I'm so glad you asked. So, um, when you, so watch this. This is powerful. You will stay in reverse until you forgive yourself, right? You got to learn how to forgive you. You got to forgive yourself for the decisions you've made, the mistakes you've made, the knowledge you had and didn't apply, the knowledge you didn't have and wish you knew. You got to forgive yourself. And by forgiving yourself, you can eradicate, you can learn to embrace the present instead of being stuck in the past. Does that make sense? But you'll be stuck in the past and you'll be held by the past until you forgive yourself. And you got to forgive others who have hurt you, who've disappointed you, who've neglected you, who've let you down. You've got to neglect those individuals as well. Does that make sense? So you have to forgive yourself and you have to forgive others. And forgiveness doesn't isn't something that you give to somebody else. It's a gift you give to yourself, right? Because when you're unforgiving, you're drinking the poison, but you're expecting somebody else to die. It just doesn't work like that. So you got to forgive other people, and then you also have to forgive yourself. And once you forgive you and you forgive others, then you can get out of reverse and you can get in drive. Now, the same thing holds true as it relates to neutral. If you're in neutral, right, one of the things you probably have to forgive is the way things turned out. Things didn't go the way you wanted, the way you expected, the way you planned, the way you had mapped it out. And so sometimes we can get in this very nonchalant way of life because we have very little expectations because we've been so disappointed. And so when you've been massively disappointed by life and by people, if you're not careful, you can live life in neutral where you just don't care anymore, right? And so you got to return back to your passions, return back to what gets you excited, return back to the things that give you enthusiasm and zest and fun. Does that make sense? And y'all, I think it's so vitally important that we do that because if we don't do that, we will not succeed long term. So you got to get out of neutral by asking yourself passion questions. How can I find my passion, my spark, my enthusiasm, my joy again? How can I find my excitement again? How can I find my passion again? How can I find my zest again? Right? I think that's so vitally important to get you out of neutral. And then to get you out of parked, you got to do the same thing. You to get out of parked and into drive means I'm done being stuck and I'm ready to take action, which just means you need an action plan. You just need an action plan. You need steps to take that you can trust. So you need trust. You got to build trust back into your equation because 9 times out of 10, a lot of times the reason why we stay parked is because we don't trust people. And the reason why we don't trust people is we don't delegate. I'm sorry. The reason why we don't delegate is because we don't trust. So we're kind of stalled out and we need more help, but we don't have the help that we need because we're stuck. So you need strategy. You need a better strategy. You need a better story. And um, you need to put yourself in a better peak state, a state that makes you get up and want to make things happen, a state that makes you want to get up and go about your life in a better way. So one of the things that I would really encourage you all to do um, um, is to really, really ask yourself, okay, what gear am I really in life and business? And where do I find myself, and how do I get out of this stuck place? And I think the more we can really focus on how to get out of the stuck place and really focus on what it means to stay and drive, I think we'll live a better quality of life overall in totality. So one of the questions that's come up is, if you don't have clarity around what your next steps are. So I did a whole YouTube video about, if you want to change your life in 90 days, this is exactly what you should do. I want to encourage you to go watch that video. It's how to change your life in 90 days. It's no BS. Do this, and this. And we go into great detail that will help you really take it to the next level. So I hope that video blesses you. But listen, y'all, I just want you to think about, what are some of the benefits of staying in drive? I remember when, again, going back to the pandemic, when the pandemic happened, I decided to keep my life in drive. So I decided to go get my boating certification, get my gun certification, go get disc level 2 certified. I made sure that I had my hypnosis training. I made sure I took salsa and bachata level 1 and 2. I did all these cool things. I even got Simba, my dog. So he was a result of the pandemic. And had I stayed in neutral or parked or reverse, I wouldn't have had any of these cool additions that I have now in my life. And I added these additions to my life because I made the decision that I was going to stay and drive. And so, what I want to encourage you to do is, no matter what comes your way, no matter who comes your way, no matter what situations or circumstances come at you in life, do yourself the favor, my friend, and stay in drive. I think it's so vitally important that we learn how to stay in drive, keep moving forward, keep propelling forward, keep driving forward, keep believing forward, and keep taking it to the next level. So it's so crucial, y'all. If we're gonna go to the next level, if we're gonna live our dreams to the fullest, we gotta be committed to staying in driving. Those are some of the keys that are gonna help you do it. So yes, 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 yes. Make sure that you follow us on all of our social platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. And we'll be doing way more content. So I'm excited about that and looking forward to just adding value to your life in a really, really powerful, powerful, powerful way. So only the best is yet to come. So stay encouraged, y'all. Stay inspired. Stay pushing forward. And really, really, if you don't have your hands on this book, make sure you pick up a copy of this book. And also, y'all, I'm really, really excited about this. We have our Shift Summit coming up. So if you're watching this on replay, we got our Shift Summit coming up. Make sure you check it out. Go to shiftsummitlive.com. That's www.shiftsummitlive.com. Our next Shift Summit is coming up. It's a live in-person training with yours truly, Dr. Delatorro, in person for 2 days. It's going to be incredible. And we're going to be teaching these concepts and going deeper in these concepts. It's going to be powerful, practical, tactical, strategic. It's going to be everything that you need to help you grow and go to the next level. So know that I'm cheering for you all. Know that I'm rooting for you. And know that on this Monday, as you head into this new week, head into this new week with a commitment that you're going to stay in drive. So much more to come. So excited about how we're going to continue to add value to you guys. Thank you so much. Keep striving, keep manifesting, and we will talk to you all soon. Whoop, 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 whoop. Blessings, everyone.